Good evening, Ajahn. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday night guided meditation at the Buddhist Society of Victoria. Welcome to everyone here in the room and also to our online audience. Thank you for joining us. Tonight's guided meditation is led by Ajahn Mudito. Ajahn, thank you for taking time off your other job as a construction manager to take us through a guided meditation tonight. We very much appreciate it. We won't do any announcements just now. We'll have those at the end of the meditation. So we'll, after an introduction, we'll meditate until 8:30 p.m, then have some brief announcements and then time for any questions and answers after that. So if you're here in the room, you can just raise your hand if you have a question at the end. If you're online, you can type your question into the live chat. Finally, if you're here in the hall, please to make sure your phone is on silent or turned off so there are no interruptions to the meditation. Thank you very much, Ajahn.
Very good. Okay. Nice to see everybody. It's nice to see that there's so many people here. I was just writing a little paper or a little 150 word thing about for Ajahn Brahm's 50th birthday being a monk. I was asked to do that. And that they asked me to do this thing about 150 words on grateful. What do I feel grateful for, or for Ajahn Brahm after all these years? I've known Ajahn Brahm now for 20 years. I met him first time 2004 in New York when I lived there. And it's a very nice thing to actually contemplate, even for me, to bring in mind gratitude. Quite often in life we tend to concentrate too much on the things which are wrong, and we don't concentrate on the things which are right. Just today there was a lady came to talk to me, and she said that she was really depressed a long time ago, and she was living with her husband in Perth at that time, and she heard that there's this monastery in Serpentine, which is our monastery, the Bodhinyana, where Ajahn Brahm lives. And at the time, Ajahn Chagaro actually was the head monk, and she went to see Ajahn Chagaro, and told him that his father had just passed away, and she was really depressed. One of the reasons why she was depressed, not just that the father had passed relatively young, but also because she felt that she hadn't done those things which she thought she wanted to do to her father. She had all these ideas, but she had moved here to Australia. Life obviously takes over when you're a young family and this and that. As we all know, we wish we sometimes do more for our families. But Ajahn Chagaro told her that, well, what about the things you have done? And she said just that fact that she looked into that, the fact that the concentrated on her mind in towards the things the things she have done, not on the things she didn't do. She had high expectations for herself. She thought she'd had to do certain things as a daughter. So she couldn't get over that. So she said that just that little thing, when she changed her mind, her perspective on looking on things which she did do, not on the things she didn't do. And it's the same thing in our own lives. We concentrate on the things what perhaps we did wrong, but not on the things we have done right. In Buddhism, wisdom is always called the wisdom of the heart. We want to grow. We want to make our heart grow. And one of the ways of doing that is to really trying to feel, how am I doing? If we never look into our mind, we tend to live in this world which is we make up, and nobody ever gives us feedback because nobody knows what's happening in your mind. So you have to know your own heart or your own mind. There's nobody else coming to you and say, look, that's just silly what you're doing. You don't have a judge there on your own mind when you're judging yourself. You don't have somebody who's more neutral. If you really would write down these things, all these thoughts you're endlessly obsessing about, and show it to somebody, I'm sure a lot of people would tell you that is just a silly way of, of obsessing. Those things are not worth of being obsessed about. But because you don't have that feedback, because you never perhaps took the time or put the effort in, you do just keep revolving around the same thoughts. Yesterday I was giving the talk here, and the talk was about the things where we actually live, which we don't realize, on those nooks and crannies of those kind of dark corners of the mind where we live. We don't realize how much self we make out of these stories. But why are these stories true? Why do you live in those kind of feelings of guilt or lack of self-worth? Why do you live there? Why is that the reality? We need to see that we do those things, and one of the things, that's what meditation does, mindfulness and meditation. We realize, oh, that's how I think. So that's the reason why we come here. And I hope when you look at your mind today, when there's a bit of a silence, don't get too judgmental about it, where the mind goes back into those dark corners. Just notice that, yeah, this is who I am. This is the way I think. And try to have a bit more neutrality towards that. But going back into where I started, let's start with a little bit of gratitude, so that on the beginning of the meditation, and perhaps we end into the gratitude. It's a really, really nice meditation. It's nice to think about something which has helped you in a way, and because Ajahn Brahm has been such a great teacher for me and helped me all these years, I thought that's a good meditation subject. But like I said, once you lose that, maybe it could be, if you goes well and the gratitude keeps going, the inspiration kicks in and your mind starts calming down, you might have a very peaceful abiding. But if you start going to the normal ways of thinking, that the mind doesn't want to start calming down, one thing I would say that keep in mind, this is still better than staying home and watching telly or scrolling endlessly on YouTube. No matter what happens here today, you still are doing way better than most people out there. So don't be judgmental about your own mind. But let's start the meditation, and we start with gratitude. So make sure you have comfortable seats. We can look at our own body with gratitude. This body is good enough. So make sure your body is nice and comfortable. That is the way to appreciate your body, by giving kindness. So wherever you feel that your body might not be comfortable, make sure you give it comfort. And if later on you need to move, that's fine. So don't get too paranoid that this is going to be hurting a lot because I'm going to have to sit in one posture for a long time. But we try to sit one posture for a long time because the reason is that when the body settles, it hopefully starts disappearing when you don't have to keep wiggling and moving around. Sometimes you have to keep it still a little bit, but it should be very, very slight effort. So like I said, look at your body and enjoy it in a sense that you appreciate your body. How nice it is to be in this human body for a while. It ages quickly and it gets sick once in a while, but it's still good enough. Breathe into the stomach. Just bring relaxation into the body a little bit more. I made it. I came to the Buddhist Society of Victoria. The only thing we have to do here today is to relax. We can even look at the different parts of the body with gratitude. We have both of our legs underneath ourselves, tucked underneath, or if you're sitting cross-legged, or if you're sitting in the chair, they're below you. To feel warmth underneath your legs. How nice it is to be warm instead of being out there in the streets being cold. We are being provided by this beautiful place to meditate. And it's a warm place, soft. So there is softness underneath your feet and warmth. And you look at your everything from your hip down, your legs and your pelvis, with kindness and gratitude. You inherited a lot of these body parts from your mom and dad. It's nice that we have this body. And then bring back your attention again to your tummy. Just breathe into the stomach and let the breath go back and forth in your stomach. Imagine a place when you were very young and you were lying somewhere, just relaxing, just taking in the breaths and letting out the breath. Imagine those beautiful moments when you were just relaxing somewhere. leaning against a tree or lying on the sand dunes, and the tummy was just going up and down. We all know what little children, how they can relax, and we were able to relax ourselves when we were younger. We weren't so occupied with the worries of the world. Appreciate those moments when you were young, how free the life was. And just breathe in that appreciation into your stomach. And allow your back gently curve against the chair, or if you're sitting on a cushion, on its own curvature. No need to be too upright. It's just whatever feels comfortable. And you bring your attention up on your back towards the shoulders. Again, imagine yourself being that little child when you didn't have such a big shoulders and you didn't have to carry so many things on your shoulders. Just allow your right shoulder to come down on its own weight, pulled by the right hand. And same with your left shoulder. It's pulled down, it's pulled by the left arm. And you can feel how nice it is to sit here comfortably, not doing anything, only relax, relax. And if you can sit there gently, your body just below the waist, below your neck feels like it's nice and soft and gentle. It finds its own way of sitting. And you can feel your left hand all the way from the shoulder, even still relaxing the left shoulder, pulling down on the left shoulder, your left hand, bringing your attention down towards your hands, your fingers resting there on your lap. You can feel the warmth, pressure on your left hand fingers. The same with your right hand. The fingers are gently resting on your lap. And the whole right hand rests on its own weight and relaxes even more of the right shoulder. And relax your neck. That neck of yours is tired after all day, holding up the heavy head. Make sure your neck rests on the shoulder very gently. And then from the neck up we go on the back of your head. In the back of your head you have muscles. On top of your head, relax your skull. There's all kind of feelings we could have on our skull. And if you pay attention to your forehead, make sure your forehead is nice and relaxed, all the muscles there. And the muscles around your eyes, where you have all those wrinkles after living a long time. Nothing to worry. You can relax. And your right eyeball, make sure your right eyeball is soft. It's been doing all its work today. And the muscles behind the right eyeball, which actually does the work for the eye. Make sure those muscles on the back of your eye are nice and relaxed. And same with your left eyeball. It feels nice and soft. Inside of the eye socket. And the muscles behind the left eyeball. Make sure you relax even those muscles, even if you don't know how. If you imagine you can do it, they will relax. Relax. And the muscles around your jaws, which sometimes we tighten up all day. And the tongue inside of your mouth. Now the body is just breathing. it stays alive by itself. Just allow the body to be. Just gently allow the breath to go in and out, in and out. We start seeing this breath with the eyes or through the eyes of gratitude. Can you see this breath keeps us alive? How do we never ever stop appreciating this little thing, the breath? Ever since we were born, there was this movement no need to find a specific location of the breath. Just see it as a movement. You are not doing this meditation for yourself. You are doing it for all of us, for everybody who you're always gonna live with. So this thing is very important. Just appreciate the breath. This will tell you everything about you. It's like your friend. If you listen to your friend, if you appreciate it, it will tell you things. the mind starts to be a bit more calm. We've been sitting for a while, and it's been wandering around here and there, but at least it's a little bit calmer than when we started. So now we can actually try to do the breath meditation for a while before the meditation ends. So bring your attention back to the breath again for a while. We don't have that much time left. So don't waste any more time. Can you see the beautiful breath coming in and out again? For a little while we were lost. But now see it again. Few more moments, keep resting on the breath. The way you would be just lying on the beautiful warm beach, looking for something going in and out. just been resting for a while on this beautiful breath, bring your attention to a one person who you think is being a help in your life. Just rest, breathing in calmly, and think of that person. We feel gratitude for this person. Maybe we haven't told them or done enough things. But this calmness is something we can give them. If you had even the tiniest little thing of gratitude towards one person or even an animal, think of smiling when you're looking at that person or animal. And then think, looking yourself into a mirror. Look yourself in the mirror with gratitude. You have done many things right. You are good enough. And now, towards the end of the meditation, bring your attention back to your body. Is your body a little bit more relaxed than it was in the beginning? Can you feel that the body is a little bit more healthy when you allow it to sit for a while? Allow it to be. And if you bring your attention back to your mind, can you see see the softness, the part which is a bit more relaxed. When you allow your mind to wander around and then concentrate on the good parts. And then I will play the gong for 3 times, and after the 3rd time you can open your eyes. Okay, so I guess we have announcements.
Yes, thank you very much, Ajahn. Before we get to the Q&A, just a reminder that there's more chances to meditate this week. If you're here in Melbourne, you can come tomorrow night, and there's another guided meditation with our lay teacher, Sandeep. Each morning between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m, we have the daily meditation group online on Discord called New Day, New Mind. And Ajahn Nando joins that room between 6 and 6:30 a.m. on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. And each evening, Monday to Thursday at 7 p.m, also on Discord, we have a 20-minute monastic-led guided meditation each night, followed by a short Q&A. Next week, the Sunday Dhamma talk will be given by Venerable Pasadika, and the Monday night guided meditation by Ajahn Sadaro. And just a reminder that a couple of things coming up. One is this Sunday, if you are in Melbourne, you can join us for the Kalyanamita cleaning day here at the BSV at 12:30 p.m. Just doing some gardening, so if you're welcome to join us, if you can bring some garden gloves and perhaps safety glasses if you have them, and help make the Buddha Loka Centre here look beautiful. And also Friday next week on the 4th, we are restarting the Discover Buddhism series for people who are relatively new to meditation or new to Buddhism and want to learn more. So if you have some other people maybe who are interested to learn the basics of meditation, that would be a good place for them to start. That's from Friday the 4th of October. They're all the announcements. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Ajahn. No. Is there anyone here in the room who'd like to ask a question or have a comment?
Quietness. The hour goes quickly. Yeah, okay, that's good. You have something.
Hi, Ajahn. Thank you very much for the meditation class tonight. It was very, very, very good. I just had a question about gratitude. Earlier tonight you were talking about gratitude, and I had a question about, I guess, maybe skepticism towards the act of gratitude. The case in point that I mean is that I noticed that you were expressing gratitude towards Ajahn, you've obviously been quite a famous figure and who you've been aware of for some time, and I'm wondering we've seen many cases in the past of rather famous figures who we've perhaps looked up to, and we've found out later, maybe post-death or even during life, that they're not exactly the kind-hearted people that we initially thought they were. And so I guess what I'm asking is, until you've, I guess, how do you approach practicing gratitude, I guess, from a more sort of skeptical point of view rather than just blind devotion? Keep in mind that the person that perhaps today that you are practicing gratitude towards, you might find out maybe in a week or a month time or even a year's time might have skeletons in their closet.
Well, look, yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about it. I mean, if there is skeletons in closet, but you cannot really worry too much about the future. You cannot predict the future. It's like, but then if you have really gratitude, let's say, for me, it's always my family, obviously grandma and people like that who are really you spend a lot of time with. So that's an easy object to bring the gratitude. So I don't think my grandma had too many skeletons in the closet. I hope not, but I mean she's dead, so maybe she took it with her. Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think we idolize maybe some people, but if you really, the gratitude is good to bring the gratitude towards somebody you spend considerable time with, perhaps. But I mean, look, let's say you really felt gratitude for I'm just pulling something out, like a teacher, and then you find out later that the teacher actually did some things which you didn't realize. Well, obviously then you don't feel so much gratitude, or is tainted by that. But it doesn't really matter if you do it now, as long as you bring the feeling. Because what we're really trying to aim, we don't have this balance towards our own self, our own mind. We don't appreciate ourselves enough. So we always try to bring these feelings and then try to project them towards ourselves. Because I've noticed, at least on my own mind, that I tend to concentrate too much on the things which are not so good. So it's good to bring these kind of feelings, whether it's loving kind of gratitude or generosity. We have different kind of objects we should try to bring up once in a while, and then make more of it. So if you just tell yourself, I really appreciate myself, I've done many things well, and you try to lean towards that, the life just gets just a tiny bit easier. And I think sometimes if we share the gratitude with others, we know what the feeling is, and we appreciate those kind of things they've done towards us, and then it sort of comes out of us as well. We pay the gratitude by not towards always towards that person who did those things, but we also the things we got, we share, and then we become that person of doing those kind of acts again. So, like, let's say for me, being Ajahn Brahm, for an example, as a gratitude, one thing I have to, out of gratitude, I meditate. Out of gratitude, I teach. Out of gratitude, I stay as a monk. All those things, out of gratitude, I do those things. Out of gratitude, I keep my monk's precepts well. I mean, it's a silly example, but like, why do I shave my eyebrows? I don't. I don't have to. It's an interesting tradition I'm part of. In Newbury Monastery, nobody else does it. But out of gratitude for Ajahn Brahm, I do it. It's a weird thing to say, but honestly, I do it. And it's and coming from the Thai tradition, I'm not a Thai monk. I haven't spent much time in Thailand, but then out of gratitude, just I do those things. So all those things I do, I'm a good person because out of gratitude for others. And that could be out of gratitude for my parents, out of gratitude for my grandma. I'm trying to be a kind person because they were kind towards me. So you share that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Langdon, there's somebody behind you. Or did you want to take online?
Sorry, can we just alternate? I'll just alternate with the online questions and come back to you. What's one online question? There's a question, I'm not sure if it's leading somewhere, just is it okay to share your meditation experiences online, or is it for personal contemplation and growth?
I tend to not recommend it too much. I was always taught to share your meditation experiences more like with your teacher. Even as monastics, we don't talk amongst the other monastics our meditation experiences too much. We tend to just go towards somebody really good friend of ours or your teacher. One of the reasons is that people don't usually have enough of mudita. My name is Mudito. Mudita is the one where you appreciate other people's happiness. And meditation, when meditation goes well, it's a very, very happy, it's a very blissful place. It's a very all kind of things can happen. You might bring envy, jealousy into these people's minds. So you might want to share it, but they might not appreciate that enough. So it might bring you down. So I would say not to post things online and all that, or even talk about too much about it. So yeah, it's more for your own personal growth. And if you think somebody would be really happy hearing that, then sure, there's no harm, but be careful with that, yeah.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Hi, I just wanted to ask about your personal experience becoming a monk. How did you prepare for it? How did you prepare for it, and where did you go, and stuff like that?
Well, I sort of prepared for it. I started to follow the precepts closely and try to understand what it would involve to be a monk. So I really got inspired for a while, but then I sort of got back on the party wagon and traveled the world, and I was hoping the Mara will come and find me, but I was really trying to find a girlfriend, and then so because that didn't happen, so then I was like, oh well, I guess I have to go and join the monastery. It's actually partly true. How do you prepare it? It just really, it's almost like people will ask me in the beginning, why did I become a monk? And I said, look, there's nothing else I could do. It's just I felt like I had to do it. It's almost like it's such a big part of me. It wasn't even that exciting for me. It's just I felt like I had to do it, and it's part of the reason is that I could not see anything in the world really meaningful. It's that kind of question. And then what? Get a career, and then what? Earn more money, and then what? Have wife and a house, and then what? So, and I couldn't find a good answer for that. Then what? But you just sort of. I just went to the monastery. One point, I just realized, okay, now I've done enough. I've seen the world, and I've partied enough, and I've done these things enough. And so I said, okay, well, it's my Christmas break from work, and I just went 2009 on my Christmas break, went to monastery and just tested out. That's the only way really to do it. You cannot really just say, okay, I'm going to dedicate my life for this, because it's a bit too, it would be too definite. Some monks I know, they have quite a dedicated, but most of us, we always come for, we just try it out. And I've been, trying it out since 2010, so still going strong. But you just prepare for it. You just start. Basically, you just have to start really stop going to the parties, and you start limit. You automatically limit your friendships and all that. You start. It gets limited quite automatically. because you just don't go to the events so much and all that. And so I just used to go to work and come back home and stay home and listen Dhamma and try to understand it. But gradually you just, I just didn't feel like I had the choice. I just had to do it.
Thank you, Ajahn. There's another online question. Dear Ajahn, sometimes in meditation I hear inner chatter. Might those voices be the mind and the ego? They clearly have minds of their own. Some days I feel thankful that they and their unskillful speech and thoughts are not me. Some days I feel helpless and depressed that these are the voices that dictate my life from within. Thank you for your guidance.
Yeah, it is, however you want to describe your inner chatter, when we all have it, and sometimes it's stronger than other times. And one thing we always encourage, not to pay too much attention to it. You bring things into reality if they give them value. So the best thing would be, even if you perceive them as a chatter, or even that's the inner dialogue, just try to have it as like nothing to do with me. Why do we always take that self to be? Why do we take that self so seriously, or why do we take the self so that? What was you saying? There's no. If somebody else tells us something, we just sort of take everything with a grain of salt because we always know better. Why does the self know better? How do you know why do you think you know yourself so well? So don't believe into it too much. And my teacher Ajahn Brahm is always said one thing. It took him a long time to really get peaceful with meditation. Is he was always very analytical. His mind is very, very sharp, and he was a very analytical mind. And he said that really took me a long time to allow it to fade away, not to pay attention. So somebody whose meditation is going well, actually there is not that much. The thoughts is the thinking mind, you don't really give it much value. That's an interesting thing. As a most people would not really even understand what it means. What does it mean to not to think? But the thinking is that you don't pay attention to the thinking. You don't give it value. So the thinking might be there. It's always wants to sort of engage, but you just sort of like lessen the value. Just sort of like, not really my business. It's because quite often we have this, let's say we have the negativity, guilt, whatever it is, and we start engaging with it. But soon as you engage with it, it's basically you're hooked up with it. It's, we have this like idea, it's like a Mara, the tormentor, but it's basically, it gives you a little hook and you bite into it. Even if you try to reason with it and all that, we have, you could be positive about it. But basically, soon as you catch that that hook, you're hooked and it takes you with it. So the best thing is not to get involved. If you do get involved with this kind of the thought patterns, at least try to be positive about it a little bit. Try to, or have a bit more neutrality with it. Have like a judge with you. So it's like, well, maybe that's not true. Maybe I can be a bit more positive towards that, my judgmental mind. So we need to create these little gaps a little bit there in the thinking mind and be brave about it. Best thing is not to get involved. The second best thing is to try to be positive towards that. So acceptance is very important. It sounds difficult, but once you keep at it for a few years, it does get easier. You become more person who is more at ease with yourself. Because what can you do? Anywhere you go, who's going to follow you? You are always going to be there until the grave. You are always following you. I always say the best holiday for me when Ajahn Mudito is left behind and I go. But unfortunately, even if I go to Finland, he comes with me. And a lot of times it's just a pretty annoying person to be around. I'm sure it's same for you, but you just didn't notice that chatter and all that. It's how much you have it with you, how much you carry those bags everywhere you go. So take a little breaks from yourself. It really is nice.
Thank you very much, Ajahn. Any more questions here in the hall? We do have just one last online question, Ajahn. It's difficult for me to understand exactly what the question is. I've asked the person for clarification, so I'll just read out the question as it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's try to figure this out.
What would you say to someone who has nothing to live for? For example, when does all the clothes, cooking, cleaning, nursing, dishes, the yard, etc., all for free with no money or reciprocity?
So as a monastic, yes. So that sounds like but let's try to concentrate on that idea. I mean, I'm not sure either that the last part, but the first one was just what's the meaning of life, or why do we do anything, or what's all of this all about? Well, look, anything you do has a meaning. What you give, the meaning you give it to. Nothing in the world obviously has inherent meanings, even in Buddhism. But if you don't really think to, like, my life is worthless perhaps, but what I can give is what makes the life worthful. It gives the life a good meaning when you help others, when you do the best of your ability, and whether it's work or in your other life, you come and do charity work in a Buddhist society, you do all kind of things, it really does help you. All these little acts of kindness make the world a better place, and it gives life a meaning. Otherwise, or we go from life to life to life. This life is no better or worse than your previous life. You lived before. All these things, they just follow like a pattern. And we don't climb in the Buddhist, there is no Buddhism, there is no idea that you climb in a certain kind of like a steps that you get more and more wisdom. It doesn't work that way. We just always fall into these traps of the world, and that's how the world works. So we try to make the best of this where we are now, because it won't get any better after this. It's like you look at your own body. If your body gets older, and will it get better all the time? Are we getting more and more healthy? Are we getting all the time better? Is your mind getting better? The mind you can do something about. The body, not much. The body ages really quickly, but the mind, we need to develop the mind. If that should become like you're sort of like a thread, I should be developing a heart. I should be somehow trying to gain wisdom, not the wisdom from the books, but wisdom of the heart. And the more you keep coming to the here, more you look into your mind, you become more wise. And a lot of the wisdom is how to deal with your own mind. So slowly you become a wiser person, and that's meaning enough. And those kind of things, that then will lead you into a happier place. And that will take you a better destination in the next lifetime. But whether you believe rebirth or not, it doesn't matter. We have to see the effects here now. So all of these practices we do, they have to have they have to do something for you. I met so many people, even in this hall I know some of you, who said, look, I was really depressed, I was really in a difficult spot, and I started to come here and it's really helped me a lot. And I meet similar kind of people, whether I go to Finland or Poland or England or different parts of Australia. It's amazing how these practices work. And it's such uplifting to see that just by sitting quietly with others can have a tremendous effect in your mind. So always appreciate these things. And the same with the Dhamma, if you start appreciating the Dhamma, it has a tremendous effect in your life. It has on my life, and I know it has done a lot for many of us. So appreciate it, give it a value, and keep at it. It really is important what we're doing. Okay, let's end it there. Well done.